Hello everybody. Today I'm going to rant about one of my pet peeves. Recently I had an amicable disagreement with a connection friend of mine on LinkedIn about a book that he had recommended and about what he saw as a plus for that book. I'm not going to talk about or reveal what the book title is, because in this day and age I would be immediately censored. Why? Because the book is about colonialization and it's written by a non-Westerner. So any criticism of the book will get me accused of racism. Ironically, the nameless book, it will remain nameless, is about colonialism, and so race is implicit in the content and substance of the book. But I'm not going to talk about that. If I get into all that, I'd be cancelled immediately. I'm a white boy and it wouldn't be appreciated. But in any case, this channel is about writing and not about politics. No. The disagreement was not about the substance of the book, which actually I found quite interesting, but about the way it's written, the style, the presentation, and the use of the language. My connection thought that the use of rarely used English vocabulary was a plus. It made the book haute cuisine, not homemade mutton stew. I disagreed. I contend that people who use rarely used English vocabulary do so to impress us about how clever they are, about their scholarship, and in lieu of clear language or a solid argument. Say what you mean clearly and succinctly and help the reader understand the point that you are making. They don't want to struggle with esoteric terms that send them to the dictionary. Having said that, I worked for somebody once who said that in any report, the reader must be driven to use the dictionary at least once. No, no, no. Perhaps it's a means by which non-English speakers, people who English is not their mother tongue, use to convince us of their abilities, but it's not necessary. Think about the famous African author from Nigeria, Chinua Achebe. His book is Things Fall Apart, and it's about pre-colonial life in the southeastern part of Nigeria and the invasion in the 19th century by Europeans. Achebe has a gift of explaining things clearly in a straightforward way, using straightforward language. And bear in mind that his first language was Igbo and not English. Let me read you a very short paragraph from his book that illustrates what I mean. I'm quoting. "The white man is very clever. He came quietly and peaceably with his religion. We were amused at his foolishness and allowed him to stay. Now he has won our brothers, and our clan can no longer act like one. He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart." Now look at the language that I argued with my friend about. Don't worry, I'm not going to read all of that. But look at these things about it. It's also about colonialism, but it uses jargon to sound academic. And the author is not an academic, in fact. He uses the word civilization 6 times in one long paragraph. It's boring and it loses its impact. He sent me to the dictionary with the word vociferous. I can hardly pronounce it. It actually means divisive. The word divisive works just as well, and doesn't make me stop thinking about the point that the author is trying to make, while I struggle to find a dictionary and what it means. My friend argued that if we know the words are available, then we should use them. He said it's like eating simple food at home, but enjoying cuisine in a restaurant prepared by a master chef. I disagree. I'm not saying that people shouldn't read or learn new words. Lots of people read dictionaries for pleasure. People play Scrabble, and words are the basis for civilization. But the purpose of writing is usually to convey information or to make a point to the reader. I'm a writer by profession and as a vocation, so I focus on learning what works. Using long words, and 6 of them when one will do, is self-indulgent, and it simply results in fewer readers, so you are wasting your time and their time. It makes your book too long, and publishers and bookshops hate that. A further point, this is more about presentation than language, but it's equally important. Take a look at this image. Not the words, which are obviously nonsense, but the layout. Which of these two alternatives, and the texts are identical, which of these two are easier on the eye? Both, of course, are impossible to understand, but somehow the text that's broken into paragraphs gives the mind an idea that it could make sense of it. So split your text. My rule is 3 or 4 short sentences per paragraph. So now let me finish up by combining these points. I asked ChatGPT to write me the Jack and Jill famous rhyme as a short story using as many complicated and pretentious words as it could. Long sentences, no paragraph breaks. Then I asked it to write the same story with the same substance, using simple words, short sentences, and just 3 or 4 sentences per paragraph. Of course, you may like the longer, literary, wordy version. Fair play. It will be considered literary by the intellectuals who spend their time at these things, and the Booker Prize judges are impressed by cleverness. But for my mind, the beauty of the story is in the version that lets my imagination do the work around the simplicity. Take your pick. That's it for today. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like, hit subscribe, and see you next week.